Amersham was a prosperous town of some 900 people. It was described by John Leyland in the 16th century as a right pretty market town of one street, well building with timber. It was home to a group of Lollards, followers of the teachings of John Wycliffe, a 14th century Oxford scholar. Wycliffe believed that the church had lost its way, that it had become too worldly, too preoccupied with wealth, hierarchy, and its own authority. Wycliffe also criticized the worshipping of saints and questioned the need for confession and pilgrimage, all key pillars of religious tradition. For the Lollards, religious truth came only from the Bible, which they believed should be available in English for everyone to read and understand. In 1511, the Bishop of Lincoln, William Smith, dispatched investigators to Amersham. They were being sent to root out heretics, townspeople who were not following the true Catholic religion as dictated by the bishops and the king. When Bishop Smith's investigators reached Amersham, they charged 60 of the town's inhabitants with heresy. One of the accused, Thomas Chase, died, still imprisoned 3 years later. Convicted heretics were publicly shamed. Some were branded on the cheek with a red-hot iron, so they would carry a permanent scar. Others were made to wear a heretic's badge. Some were required to walk around the marketplace on market day and stand on the highest step of the market cross with a bundle of sticks on their shoulder to mark them out as heretics. In each of these instances, the idea behind the punishment was to make an example of the heretic. Richard Saunders, one of those convicted, paid a considerable sum of money to be allowed to hide his badge in his purse to avoid this public shame. Others found guilty of heresy were ordered to go on pilgrimage to Lincoln, about 130 miles away, or to Ashridge Abbey, which claimed to hold a vessel of Christ's blood. Pilgrimage was a common penance required of those who had sinned. William Talsworth suffered the worst fate when he was burnt at the stake high on the hill above the town so everybody could see what awaited unrepentant heretics. In a final cruel twist, William's daughter, Joan Clerk, was made to light the fire. Another Amersham Lollard, Robert Cosson of Missenden, was burnt in Buckingham at about the same time. Following the burnings, Thomas Mann from Newbury attempted to help some of the Amersham Lollards to escape to East Anglia. However, he was arrested, tried in London, and then burnt at the stake himself at Smithfield in 1518. Thomas had claimed to have converted many people in Amersham to the Lollard cause, even after the bishop's inquiry. In 1521, 10 years after the initial search for heretics, the new Bishop of Lincoln, John Longland, who was Henry VIII's personal confessor, sought out the survivors of 1511. He wanted to see if they had kept their promise to give up Lollard beliefs. Looking to save himself, Thomas Holmes denounced 60 of his fellow townspeople. In all, around 200 people, both rich and poor, were implicated in the conspiracy. About a quarter of the town's population. Everybody would have known at least one of the accused. 5 men, including Thomas Holmes, and 1 woman, were sentenced to death. As with William Talsworth, members of John Scrivener's family were made to light the fire that would kill him. Bishop Longland attended the burnings himself and preached a sermon against reading the Bible in English. The last Amersham martyr was Thomas Harding. He had been put on trial in 1511 and promised he would give up his beliefs. In 1521, he was tried again and sentenced to wear a heretic's badge. In 1532, he was convicted of possessing Bibles in English and was burned to death at Chesham. 2 years later, Henry broke with Rome and became head of the church in England. At the bequest of the king in 1539, the reform-minded Archbishop of Canterbury Thomas Cranmer then ruled that every church was to have a copy of the Bible in English.